All right, I'm gonna try and make this quick. So someone asked me when I responded about my thoughts on Trump being president. Um, my opinion of the stuff with Elon Musk and Doge. Here's the thing. Um, I'm not gonna blame it on Democrats. Both sides of the aisle, Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, liberals, are guilty of the same thing, which is abusing their authority. I absolutely, positively have faith in the fact that humanity is corrupt, degenerate, and extremely fucked up. And in that regard of having faith in that, I expect everyone to be the worst they can be. They just hide it so that other people don't expect it from them. Pretty much, that's my opinion. Um, there are certain people who are not as bad as other people, but that is more a personal choice. And this is where things like religion and stuff like that come into play. This is one of the reasons I actually get along with Muslims and Jews, because I believe Christianity should be a form of Judaism. I could do a whole long thing about that. But Christians, Jews, and Muslims all have a similar moral, ethical framework based upon our belief in the highest authority in the universe being God, or Jehovah, Yahweh, Allah, however you want to say it, in whatever tongue you want to say it. That is the reality of it. And so, in that regard, looking at Doge, looking at Trump and Elon Musk, he's uncovering plenty of corruption. And I'm just going to uncover plenty more. And you know what? I've experienced so much corruption and seen so much government corruption. Uh, yeah, I know I haven't made my big plays to showing people what I was supposed to show them, but shit comes up. We have lives and cars break down, and there's all kinds of shit that takes place. So it's kind of limited me. But beyond that, here's the thing. Um, I'm pretty sure that this will have a blowback of Democrats if they can take power again, doing the same thing to conservatives. And you're going to see a lot of Democratic politicians losing their place, possibly even brought up on criminal charges. And so, holding to the letter of the law, um, probably going to weed out a lot of the draining the swamp. And this is one of the things I was talking about. I was scared with Trump on, because a lame duck president in the last 4 years who really is just going to do what he's going to do, and you've pretty much kicked the anthill or the hornet's nest on that one. You're going to get stung. There's just, yeah. So, especially with the Ukraine stuff. I mean, the blowback shit, Hunter Biden's laptop, the misuse of authority from the FBI for covering it for criminal activity, going all the way up to the president, vice president. Um, that stuff is. Here's the thing: it happens in other countries, and if you don't think it can happen in America, uh, um, you're kind of delusional. So here's what's going to happen: our country's incredibly divided. We are, and they've designed it that way. It's rich against poor, uh, black against white, against Mexicans, against Asians, against natives. Um, it's this religion against that religion, whatever. And so I'm not in the mood of. I'm actually going to be the peaceful one here for a moment. Because division is not the thing we need. What we need is to come together as Americans. I don't care if you're Muslim. I don't care if you're Jewish. I don't care if you're Christian. I don't care if you're an atheist. I don't care if you're a Satanist. I have friends that fall in all those categories, including Buddhist and Hindus and everything. I have friends that are straight, gay, bisexual. I even have a few friends that are trans. Um, None of that bothers me. Here's the thing. I have my opinion and my moral beliefs and my conduct based upon my beliefs. I am a Christian, right? As a Christian, I am told not to be gay, even if I wanted to be gay, which I don't. But even if I wanted to, my part of my faith is, uh, still a word from the Muslims, submission to the rules that God has set for me. So I can't do that. I don't believe in telling people that God hates them. Uh, God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. I don't agree with Muslims where they do not believe in the divinity of Jesus Christ. I do believe that he was the Son of God. I believe that he was God. Um, I don't believe that coming down as a man and referring to himself specifically as God, which he did in a roundabout way a couple times in Scripture, and you have to really be in the Scripture to know this, um, is would have been proper for the time. God puts on a Jesus suit and dies for our sins because there is no man on earth that can live without sin. None. David was a sinner. Solomon was a sinner. Abraham was a sinner. I'm a sinner. You're a sinner. Everyone, we're all sinners. All right. So no one is better than another. And I don't support socialism. I understand why Black America, I'm probably ranting a bit here. I understand why Black America moved towards that socialist leaning. I mean, if you look at the 60s and all the stuff that was going on pre-civil rights era, that all the violence that was a cause for the civil rights era, when they were looking at ways to defend themselves against a corrupt and tyrannical system in their eyes, they turned to guerrilla warfare. And most of the guerrilla warfare documents that have come out of the 60s, 70s, even the 40s and 50s, most of that partisan stuff was pro-socialist revolution, especially down in South America, Cuba, out that way, which was more easily accessible here in America. You see more of a conservative-leaning, partisan guerrilla warfare, non-conventional warfare, if you want to think of it, type of thing from post-World War II Europe. In fact, several countries are completely against unions. I am against unions for any government position. Privately, if workers want to start a union, that is part of their individual right to associate with each other and go to the government for redress of grievance. So if me and a bunch of fellow employees decide the business isn't doing right by us and we want to take them in the court for better conditions, better pay, whatever, it is perfectly within our right to do so. However, I don't believe that they should exist in government entities. I think police unions should absolutely be abolished. I believe that they are a subversive organization. I've read Karl Marx's Communist Manifesto, and yes, there's the often quoted the purpose of socialism to become communism. But there's a whole lot of other stuff in there. One of which is the use of unions to take from the what they refer to as the proletaire, the middle class. He never mentions the plutocrat, which is the really top line stuff, some guy running a mom and pop store, that's proletaire, that's middle class. Elon Musk, Bill Gates, some of our politicians, which have made millions by investing money where they knew that the laws would change to boost those markets, government-sponsored healthcare. Those people, well, let me tell you, those people are criminal. And they would fall under the idea of plutocrats. They are so rich, have so much money, they're removed from society. I think that's horrible. I will not support socialism, which is why I don't support Black Lives Matter. To say that a person's life doesn't matter, that's cruel and inane. It's just stupid and insulting. I'm not ever going to say that a person's life, whether they're black or anything else, doesn't matter. Black lives do matter. But yes, all lives matter. Because here's the thing. Socialism isn't the way. I don't support the socialism of the neo-Nazis. So, to me, it's all the same. Socialism, get rid of the socialism. I'm fine with that. I'm a diehard capitalist. In fact, based on dealing with my whole semblance of dealing with a corrupt legal system, corrupt cops and judges, and hell, having a public defender which actively covered up evidence that would know that it was defend me. All of that, well, that's made me an anarchist. I believe we need no government. I mean, look, if I'm not an asshole and you're not an asshole, we don't need a law that says we shouldn't be assholes. Simple as that. So, in that regard, uh, yeah, I'm an anarchist. I don't give a fuck about government one way or the other. But um, there also comes a point, uh, a series, a way of thinking about this. Like I said, this whole thing's on government expediency, the money they're wasting. There's a used to be a ad on YouTube about a petition where Rand Paul points out the government was giving millions of dollars for the lab study of whether or not cocaine makes hamsters horny. Why are we wasting money on stuff like that? I mean, think about that. Why does that have anything to? How does that benefit us? It doesn't. Um, and those types of medical experiments are how the science industry, the medical industry, get all this slush funding from the government, and basically they're just using us taxpayers as I don't know, sheep. You like getting sheared there? You go out, you work, you pay your taxes, the government spends it however they want, and then pays off people with ridiculous programs. I mean, what, did some professor in college want to do a bunch of cocaine and decided he was going to write it off as giving it to the hamsters? So I think this Doge thing, I think what Elon Musk is doing, I think what Trump is doing of exposing all of this corruption and stuff, even going down to what they did with the U.S. aid program, and all of that is exposing not just the swamp, but and I'm not even going to go on the tangent of a conspiracy within the government to control things, Illuminati, all that bullshit. You don't even have to worry about that because you don't need an active conspiracy of a bunch of people getting together in a secret cabal with handshakes and meetings and whatever. All you need is for people's goals to align. If my goals are to align, if my goal is to get rich, and your goal is to get rich, and I have no moral quandary about how I get rich, I'm going to lie, cheat, steal, manipulate, and you're going to do the same. I'm going to protect your scam because your scam is similar to my scam. And as long as we're both vouching for each other's scams, we're adding credit to it. We're not doing this to say, hey, we're having a conspiracy. We don't have an Illuminati. We don't go to secret meetings. We don't have a handshake or a secret code. We just have mutually aligned objectives. Your scam, my scam. It's like Social Security. People are bitching about the Social Security thing. Well, let me ask you a question. Do you know what a Ponzi scheme is? If what Social Security does was done by any other entity, any private entity, it would be illegal. It would be a Ponzi scheme. However, it's not a Ponzi scheme because the government's doing it. In light of that, there's another little factor I want to bring up on all this government corruption. See, Trump's talking about ATF agents being corrupt and judges being corrupt and all this other stuff, and I'm just curious, at what point do you think that we can go up the system? I mean, I took my stuff to the Fourth Circuit. I filed things. When I actually filed to have it reopened a second subsequent 2255, I was told it was denied, and I wasn't given a reason for denial. When I mentioned it, they said, we don't have to give you a reason. So here's the thing. I don't trust lawmakers. I don't trust government. I'm done with that shit. And so Trump exposing this stuff is just showing me what I already know, what every person in America's pretty much already thought. It doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on. You're mad because you have goals, and what the Republicans and the conservatives are doing conflict with your goals, but your goals conflict with their goals. And so ultimately it comes down to this. This isn't a black problem, it isn't a white problem, it isn't a Spanish problem, it isn't an Asian problem, it's an American problem. We are all countrymen, we are all citizens, we are all fellow Americans. And if we allow this corruption to go unchecked, guess what? We're accessories to it, especially once it's exposed. Trump, as president, as the chief executive officer of the United States of America, that great global corporation, that great global country, he has a right to appoint anyone he wants to do anything he wants to, because constitutionally, Trump has no control over the purse strings. That is completely up to Congress. And if they start showing criminal acts, too bad. As far as a federal judge stopping the foreign aid from that President Trump did, uh, here's the thing: the president is the chief executive officer, he's CEO, and as the commander in chief, it is up to the president to do things upon behalf of Congress. However, it's also done through the State Department, which is under the executive branch, and so that regardless of however Congress allocates the funds, it's up to the president on how he wants to spend them. So you can say what you want, you can write off what check you want. It's going to come into a conflict of office of whether or not he can cash it. And over the decades, we've given so much power to the presidents and let them go unchecked, one party or another, trying to outdo the other party, that we've basically made them kings by electoral vote. Maybe we just need to burn this fucking system down. I'm just saying. Because as divided as we are, this is what occurs to me, this is what runs through my head. The next presidential election, without having somebody that's galvanizing most of the country, that's got support of most of the country, that can get the parties and everything together, it is going to turn into a clusterfuck and possibly a potential conflict. Now, Trump's trying to bail the financial, or trying to patch the holes on the boat while bailing out the fucking flooded ship to keep it from going under. But normal people are starting to talk about the economy collapsing. They're starting to talk about wanting to be preppers and survivalist stuff. And then you have guys like me who've thought about it for years, decades. I was actually thinking about survival. I was thinking about survival training from like movies and shit, like Rambo and stuff like that, when I was a kid. And then Y2K, I was 19 for that. And so I was getting information, preparing for that, everything else. I don't even have I need something to run a 3.5-inch floppy. I got a bunch of text files with designs for water pumps and like all kinds of stuff. Anyways, so eventually something's going to snap. And if we don't curb the spending and stop letting the world use us like their piggy bank, milking us like we're some wealthy frontier colony, we're going to have a pretty bad time. Oh, also, on conspiracy theory note, old hippie buddy of mine, when I was about 13, 14 years old, showed me this book written in 1970, I think. It's a conspiracy theory thing. Everything that they have done, Republicans and Democrats, this thing kind of predicted, and I was watching it take place in the 90s. I kind of was a little, that stuff kind of entertained me, but I wasn't really sure. But I was adding to politics like then, because he let me borrow the book. And then, my senior drill sergeant in basic training predicted Obama's president. He even told us George Bush Jr. was going to be reelected because he's a wartime president. Most wartime presidents get reelected. But the next president, the Democrats want to be either a black man or a woman. If it's a woman, they want to be Hillary Clinton, but nobody wants another Bush, Clinton dynasty. The Clintons got dirt on everybody. So it'll probably be a black man. He don't know who that was going to be. Lo and behold, next president, Obama. And, man, y'all want to know something? Check this out. So I associate with a bunch of people. I got the nickname the devil in prison. Not because I was evil or anything, because I made deals with everybody. Certain cars don't make deals with other cars. Certain people don't deal with other people. It's just the way it is. So I would be the middleman. I didn't have any money coming in, so that's how I had to hustle to make my money, right? So I had the nickname the devil. And all that, and I was kind of teaching guys on like some ninjutsu manipulation stuff, mixed with modern psychology and sociology and a few other little things. So involved in all that, like I said, I dealt with all these different people. As it turns out, you know what? Black Muslims, kid you not, more Science Temple guys, some of the what am I thinking of? Damn, that group from uh, oh man, I can't even think of it. Nation of Islam. Some of them guys, they did not like Obama. They said Obama did more for gays than what he did for Black Americans. And you know, much like I said that I couldn't be gay if I wanted to be gay, I don't want to be gay because God tells me not to be gay. Islam is a lot harsher on that. And same thing with them. They can't support it or anything. Where I'm a Christian and I can say I do not judge and you do you. I just refuse to partake in it. But as long as you treat me good, I'm going to treat you good with basic, respect of being a human being. They're not called to that. And honestly, neither are the Jews, according to Old Testament law. But fortunately, that's just linked to that only holds sway within the nation of Israel. Outside of that, in another country's laws, they are to separate themselves from those types of people. And so, I want you to think about that. White Christian, Black Muslim, actually all Muslims, Jews, even some of the Hebrew Israelites, all like, you got a point. I can't judge. I can't judge that person for being homosexual. It is their choice in life. It is between them and God whether or not they go to heaven or hell. It's not for me to say. And I also can't judge the Muslim guy who's going to toss him off of a rooftop because his Quran tells him to. And not judging anyone is fine, but that doesn't mean I have to throw you off a rooftop myself, participate in throwing you off a rooftop, just like I don't have to participate in the homosexual lifestyle. I am to separate myself and do me. That's all I want. That's all I want to do. Just let me do me. I don't like being under anybody's thumb. The governments, the systems, anybody's. And so, as much as we're seeing this exposure of corruption and abuse of authority from the liberal Democratic side, now that Trump and Elon Musk is doing their Doge thing, if the Democrats get power again, we're going to see it again for Republicans. And I happen to know some of them guys got some investments in the prison industry that is involved with locking a lot of people up, and you got a lot of corrupt ass judges who are ignoring the fact that cops falsify evidence just to put people in prison to go to work at Unicor and perpetuate modern slavery under the excuse of the 14th Amendment. Think about that one. Whoever makes the laws also gets to make their exceptions to the law. Yeah, that's my opinion. Ranted a little bit. I'm sorry.